Hello, this is Elaine Sugar, award-winning children's program facilitator and overall supporter of children's dreams. Welcome to the Empower Teen Self-Esteem podcast. We bring you ideas and resources that help teens shine and help ease parents' minds.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. I'm Elena Perella. I'm a personal coach, and today I am filling in for Elaine Sugar. Okay, we have a wonderful guest, another one, and her name is Dale Troy, and she is a college success coach, who helps teens successfully transition to college. And Dale's coaching program sets up teens for success by focusing on academic, social, and emotional skills and habits that all students need in college. And Dale works with teens either before they start college or when they are in college and they need additional support, right?
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
Welcome, Dale. So it's a pleasure to have you here. Tell us a little bit more about you and what you do, your beautiful project. I see the business name, Crush College Stress. Wow.
Yes. Well, I came up with that name because when I realized that there was a need for someone to help college students who are having issues, I was really focused on the stress. And this was a number of years ago, before COVID. So even at that point in time, I saw how much stress kids were feeling in college. And I had 3 daughters who were in college at the time. And I just saw how much pressure they felt and how anxious they were, and they really weren't enjoying the experience. And when I started analyzing it and talking to students who are not my kids, I realized that they were missing some basic life skills that I thought I could help them with, because because of who I am, and also I'm a health coach, and I had raised these 3 daughters. So that's how I came up with the name Crush College Stress, because I wanted to help them reduce the stress so they could be the best that they could be in college.
Yeah, wonderful. Because I know I work also with teenagers, and I know how much stress they can experience during those years. Yeah. So it's wonderful to offer them so much support. Yeah, because stress can be less. And in this way, the teenage years and then the college years they can navigate those years better, definitely, if they know how.
Absolutely, yeah. I think most parents, including myself, we don't realize how different the world is today than when we grew up. How much more pressured it is with social media, and the world is much more, international. There's a lot more competition. And everyone is just feeling like not good about themselves or worried about what the life is going to bring for them. So it's just a much more stressful experience.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's much more than before. Sure, that's for sure. Yeah, and this adds fuel to the already difficult teenage years. I mean, the problematic that come to the surface during those years. Yeah.
Right. It's a natural part of the transition into adulthood, but on top of that, society has made it more difficult, I believe.
Yeah, it's true. Totally agree. And so let's discuss how hard is it for teens to go from high school to college, and so from living with their parents to living without parents on campus. What do they experience? How do they go through it?
Well, that's the biggest issue, as far as I'm concerned, is that it is a really big change, because when teens are living with their parents, so much is taken care of for them. They really don't have to make a lot of choices. They kind of just go along. Even in school, their everyone's following the same pattern. They go into their building and they just go from class to class. There's not a lot of decision making, kind of just follow the crowd. Even if you forgot what your class was, you just ask your friend, oh, what's the next class? So it's very more regimented. And there's not a whole lot of free time. Basically, a student might spend all day in classes and then do an after school activity, go home, have dinner, do their homework, go to sleep. It's pretty routine.
Yes.
Whereas when they get to college, there's no routine. They have to create their own routine. And they don't have their parents helping them figure that out. They don't have parents or someone else reminding them of where they need to be or what assignments they need to have. I mean, they're totally responsible for their whole day. So it's really a huge change, especially, I mean, even more so, I think, because parents today are very involved with their kids. They're really on top of the situation, whether they're driving them to activities or they're saying, what homework do you have when they get home? I mean, there's just so much involvement. And then all of a sudden they're dropped off at college and there's none of that. So I believe they have to learn how to create their own structure and be responsible for themselves.
Yeah, this would be better. Of course, it's a dramatic change from being taken care of and then totally independent. You have to be independent, and so at that moment you have to make choices, and you want to make the right choices, but emotions can be an obstacle then, right?
Right. And also it's easy to just kind of go along with what other kids are doing in college. If you don't have like your own values in your head, or if you don't have your own goals in mind, you can just end up kind of following along because you feel a bit at a loss, because there is no structure. So I hope when I work with kids before they go to college, I want them to have their own set of paths in mind. So their own goals, their own values, their own way of how they want college to go. I don't want them to just kind of end up choosing something because they didn't have a clear goal for themselves.
Yeah, and also because, well, sometimes if they follow other peers' paths, they can end up on a path that is not fruitful. I mean, that it could be the wrong path for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So they need to really know themselves, understand what they want out of college, and follow that. So part of my program involves goal setting and really thinking about why are they going to college, what they want out of it.
And I'm curious, how do they respond to your program, in this phase of your program? Are they willing? Is it very difficult for them? Do they have an idea?
When I first ask them that, they tend to say, oh, I think I want to be a doctor, or I think I have to explain, well, we're talking about small goals. We're talking about, let's talk about the first semester of college. So then we start talking about things like what they might want to get involved with, what activities, what kind of friendships they want to have, what academic subjects they might want to explore, those kinds of things. So, much more in the moment, not something that's going to happen 5 years from now.
So one step at a time.
One step at a time, right? And they do. I actually I just worked with someone for the first time last week, and he's a high school senior, so he's thinking about what it's going to be like when he goes to college. And I give them a survey to start with to kind of see where they are and what their habits are. And in part of the survey also talks about like, what are you looking forward to about college? And so when we started talking about goals, I looked at those and said, those things that you're looking forward to, those can be goals. So we turn them into goals. Like, he's looking forward to trying out some subjects like psychology and other things that he's never had been exposed to. So, a simple goal could be, I want to take a psychology class and find out if that might be something that interests me. I mean, that's a small goal that could be doable. It's a SMART goal. Yeah. It could be doable and accomplished in the first semester.
Yeah. I love this because in this way, it feels no pressure. It's no stress, free from stress. It's a small goal, very significant, and without all the pressure that they usually experience. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how it, I think, when I think about my own kids, I never talked to them about why they were going to college.
No.
It was just kind of like, okay, now explore college, take whatever you want, it's fine. And I think that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think that, a lot of kids, they change their majors like a few times because they really don't have much direction. They haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
And then maybe they think they're going to major in psychology, and then they take a few classes and they're like, oh, I don't like that. So got to switch to something else. So I think it also, I'm not a career coach, but I think it's also beneficial to have kids think about those things even before they get to college.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because I believe that they have that information inside.
Yeah.
Of what they want to become and what they want to do in their lives. So if one is able to read that information, and to help the child to get in touch with it, then it becomes much easier, and they don't waste time choosing this and then leaving it and then trying something else.
Absolutely. So I definitely believe in that as well. So I guess I would say in general, I just believe in being proactive to think about what's coming up and be prepared for it. So
indeed,
I see so many kids. I work with a lot of kids in college who are not doing well, and I think sometimes I hear families say, maybe my child shouldn't have gone to college. Maybe they're not up to it. They're not smart enough, or they don't, they just don't want to work hard. I often think that that's not the case. I think it's just that they weren't prepared, and they don't know how to do it. And then they become overwhelmed. They get behind in their classes. Then they get poor grades, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I find myself helping kids often turn things around. I get hired by families where the kids are failing classes. And I try to figure out, and I do figure out, where is it going wrong? Is it time management? Is it they don't comprehend the classes and they're not asking for help from the tutors? Are they not getting enough sleep because they're staying up too late and then they're exhausted and they don't get, they can't perform well? I mean, there's so many potential issues. So, it gives me a lot of satisfaction to figure out what that is, correct the problem, and then see them be able to change how they're doing in college. And, that's a lot of what I do.
And are they willing to give up things? For example, if it is about time management, let's say that they spend a lot of time with their mobiles, are they willing to do it less and to study more, or do you encounter a lot of resistance?
I'd say for the most part, 90% of the time, yes, they are, because by the time they get to me, that they're feeling bad about themselves. Their parents aren't happy. Nothing's going well. And the idea that they can improve the situation and that I'm there to support them makes them feel much better. So they're willing to try, but it doesn't always happen right away. Everyone's different. So some kids immediately, like I teach them how to use a planner, and they're so excited because they have structure and they know what to do with themselves. And then others are saying, I don't know if this planner is going to work for me. I'll try. They're not as good with it. So it takes different amounts of time.
Yeah.
to get them on board. But I would say, generally speaking, everyone wants to feel good about themselves. If you're in college and you're getting really poor grades, and you're not going to feel good. So they, as I said, if they're at the stage where their parents are willing to get outside support, then the child is generally willing to try something new and see if that works.
Yes, they have to be ready. They have to be ready. Yeah. Have you ever had also teenagers or children that weren't ready, and you had to do something more that their parents said, okay, you are going to be supported, but they didn't really?
I have had kids where what I do is I do a once a week Zoom, and then I also text them in between the sessions and just make sure they're on track and so forth. So I have had some kids where I felt like that wasn't enough for them, and I needed to just, touch base more often and really stay on top of them. I didn't, in the beginning, I wasn't asking for access to the college portal, but now I am, because that's really the only way that I can really tell if they're staying on top of their assignments. Because I have had situations where kids will say, oh yeah, I turned that in, I did that, and they didn't really. And that is super frustrating for me and for the parent. So now, if it's a matter of grades and so forth, I need to have access to seeing the actual assignments and whether they're handing them in.
Okay, well, that's great that colleges and schools support you in this way. Yeah. Wonderful.
Well, I don't even have to go to the colleges. I just have to have the student.
Yeah, the student.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought that you needed also some permission from the school, but no.
I don't. So yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just,
fantastic.
it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, some kids definitely need more support. I've even done, I often teach kids, especially who have ADHD, I teach them the Pomodoro Method, which you're probably familiar with for studying.
No.
Familiar with the Pomodoro Method? No?
Oh yeah, well, I heard that. Yeah, I heard about that, but I never read more than no.
Okay, it's helpful when kids have a hard time starting work, like getting going. They procrastinate. They just, for various different reasons. But what you do is you set a timer for 25 minutes. So they just know it's a short period of time. They stay focused for 25 minutes, and then they get a 5-minute break. And you just keep doing that. After you've done it for 3 times, you get a 15-minute break. So it's just a way of making it seem not so overwhelming to sit down for, like a big chunk of time.
Yeah, it sounds different indeed. It's not so, as you said, overwhelming. Yeah. Okay.
So what I was thinking is, I remember one girl who liked the Pomodoro Method, but she still wasn't doing it. So I started doing it with her. Like, okay, let's get on at 4 o'clock. We're going to do.
Yeah.
And so I was actually working with her. I mean, that was kind of an extreme case, but I'll do anything that I need to do to try to make it work. Yeah.
But I love this. It's so nice. I think that she felt, that you joined. I mean, not alone. She felt not alone in this, and then more motivated to do it. Yeah.
And she actually got work done when we were doing it together. Yeah. But ultimately, they need to integrate it for themselves and make it part of what they're doing. I'm not going to be there forever, but I have to get them to the stage where they're owning these new habits.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to take them by the hand and walk with them like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And what about why it is important to prepare teenagers with the habits and the skills they need to feel confident on campus?
Yeah. Well, essentially because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what it's like to be a college student. They don't know what's really expected of them. And it's kind of hard to envision what is it really going to be like. So if I'm telling them that they're going to have to manage their time, they need to create their own schedule, and I show them how to do it, then they're prepared for that, rather than just being in the situation and not knowing how to handle it. So that's essentially, I had this program called College Success Formula, which is what I do with the kids before they go to college. And I'm touching on all the different things, very holistic, that every college student really should know. I mean, everything from how to deal with stress, what you can do, the deep breathing, other kinds of things, why it's important to get to know your professors and go to office hours and feel comfortable on the campus and join things. I also talk a lot about how important sleep is and what you're eating and exercise, as well as also a part about having a growth mindset and realizing that it may be hard, but that doesn't mean it's hard forever, that you have to keep going and believe in yourself, those kinds of things. So I'm trying to give them every piece that they can incorporate into a college existence, which is so different from living at home.
Exactly. It's like laying down the foundation to be prepared to build upon. Yeah. And then you're free and independent. Yeah. And exercising, health, healthy eating. I mean, all these things are so important. Yeah.
Right. And they may, some of the kids may be doing that at home, but they may not even really think about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when they get into a new environment, they have to realize, I need to keep doing that. Exercise is important. I didn't really think about it before, but yes, that will help reduce my stress. That will make me feel physically better and mentally better.
With your program, they are reminded to do that, to continue to keep those habits.
Yeah. And they never had to. Probably most kids at home, they're not choosing their dinner, whatever their mom prepares. So some kids don't even think about how many fruits and vegetables they're eating. They're just eating whatever's there, and that can make a big difference in how they feel.
Yeah, the college they have to choose, so they have to be ready for that too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, then you have this free checklist that people can download from your website, the top 7 habits to reduce college stress. How does this list work?
Well, it's like I'm calling it. It's like a checklist. It has Monday to. I'm not sure how I organize it. I think maybe Sunday. No, I think it's Monday to Sunday, and it has habits, certain kind of things like healthy eating and sleep, and using different kinds of stress reducing tools. Has those going down one side, and then the days going down the other, and then you check off if you've done it that day. So it's just a simple reminder, and there's a little bit of in the PDF. There's also an explanation of what each of those habits is and why it's important. So it's something that if somebody wanted to actually use it, try it out, they could make a few copies of it and try it for a few weeks and see if it made a difference in how they felt and whether they were more focused and just were feeling better overall. Yeah,
it sounds very helpful because it helps you stay on track. I mean, and to continue to follow your rhythm, your pace. Yeah,
exactly. So you could say like, on Monday I haven't done any exercise for half the week, and maybe that's why I'm not feeling very good or something like that.
Yes. Fantastic. And it is free. So everybody, parents and teenagers who are listening, you can download it for free on Dale's website, which is crushcollegestress.com. Right?
Yeah. I don't know if you can put the link in, but I have a link that goes right to that. If you can do that, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I also wanted to mention, I have a really great Facebook group for parents.
Okay.
It's called College Parent Support Community. And there are parents in there with high school and college students. And it's very active. I provide all sorts of information. I also bring in other people and interview them. We were talking about careers earlier. I've interviewed somebody about careers. I recently interviewed someone about financial aid letters. So anything related to college, you'll find information there. So I encourage parents to join us there.
Perfect. Have you heard that? Join the group. It sounds fantastic. A very good experience, beautiful experience to share the good and the bad. And it will help you solve problems. And if you have doubts and questions, you can always ask. Great.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So would you like to add something more?
No, I think it's good. I want to encourage all parents to just realize how difficult it is for your child. And if they do need support, try first on the campus. If they're not doing well, make sure they're using the resources on campus. If not, know that there are people like me who can help them. And if your child hasn't gotten to college yet, I really encourage you to work on some of these basic life skills that will make them feel much more confident about being a college student.
Absolutely. So let's help our teenagers together, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. If you want to get in contact with Dale, so you've heard where you can find her website, and her Facebook group. So, and that's it for today, our conversation. Thank you so much for this precious information.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome, very welcome. And this was Elena Perella filling in for Elaine Sugar, Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Please follow Kids More Sugar on social media. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel to show that you support this content. And you can visit our website at kidsmoresugar.com to learn more about our free online kids program. Thank you.